Welcome to Let's Talk Jets Radio.
Mr. Primetime.
Cheers. Welcome back to football. Much needed after the Rangers lost. So.
Oh, see, it's funny you say that, because we have some comments about the Rangers in here. A moment of silence for the Rangers.
It was a good season. You can't be mad. It was a young team that overachieved. I'm not going to give the usual excuses, but it legitimately was a young team that wasn't expected to go that far this year. So great experience for the group. They're going to be back. Igor's going to win one day. So sucks though.
Yeah. So hockey's over. Baseball is in full effect. Yankees and Mets are kicking ass. Generals are in the Final Four. They're on the verge of maybe going to the USFL Championship, which is shocking.
They still haven't lost since week 1, right?
No, they're on roll, man. They're playing some great football. Crazy. So what's up, everybody? How you guys all doing? Good to see everybody. Obviously, mandatory mini camp is here, so that some few stories here and there about what's going on. Not going to completely overreact, just like you can't overreact to the bad stuff, you can't overreact to the good stuff.
I thought we were putting Zach Wilson in the Hall of Fame today.
It's so funny, dude. It's so funny, man. It's just like
he's a bust now. Crazy, dude.
Yeah, and that's just but you'll notice that there'll be no crazy headlines tomorrow. Zach Wilson plays good in practice. There'll be nothing like that because negativity is what sells. That's the way it always is, man. It's crazy. And the one thing, not being like jerk or anything, but we actually went to all these. We used to go to all the mini camps. We used to go to OT. We go to all this, and you're like, wow, you see all these things, like, oh, this is definitely going to translate to training camp. And once the pads come on, dude, everything changes. It never translates, pretty much ever, dude.
No, it's the classic Ramar Morris example, right? A lot of times when you see a guy up close in training camp, sometimes with the pads off, they look amazing. But when it comes time to actually do it, whether it's preseason game or actually when the lights are on week 1, it's a different speed. It's a different level. So you really can't read too much into this, especially day by day.
Yeah, I mean, once
he's gonna have his ups and downs. He's still a young kid.
Yeah, I mean, the thing right now is everybody's there. There's no distractions. There's no contract saga. There's nothing. Everything is smooth sailing. So what you hope is everybody gets out of this healthy, and then you stay out of trouble until training camp. That's really the whole thing. But if you're going to take it, I guess the two biggest stories, if anything, which is nothing to do with Zach Wilson. The first one is Makai Beckton, that he shows up, which we all knew he was going to. But the only weird thing to me, and I'm not overreacting or anything, I think he's going to come back a man on a mission. It's remarkable that this 4 to 8 week injury, the dude's still not practicing. Like, it's just wild, dude. Like I just don't like. I
still wonder whether though that was him or whether that was the team just completely misdiagnosing the injury. Regardless, though, like you just, I mean, it's 6 to 8 months now. So I mean, you would think he would at least be on the field, being able to go through some drills and stuff. I know this is his first time back with the team, so maybe they're just playing it safe. And I don't know, just trying to get him back acclimated, but it just seems strange, man. I don't know. And then the fact he's wearing long sleeves. Now we got to speculate about his weight again. Is he trying to lose weight? Like, Jesus.
Like, I'm sure the Jets, it's now June 14th. The training camp's not to the end of July. The best part about mandatory minicamp is the team sees everybody front and center. You see them physically, you talk to them mentally, you see where they are at the playbook. You can get it all figured out and say, okay, listen, you have a month and a half to figure out what you're going to do with your body. Like, either we want you to change this. It could be some players, hey, you know what, gain some weight because you're a little bit too thin, or you got to lose some weight, but we want you at this July 28th. So they had the opportunity to do that. And then that's kind of where it is. So Beckton is an interesting situation, dude. I don't understand it. I just, it's like
more and more. It just feels like once training camp gets here, I mean, is he really going to be ready to go week 1 of training camp, first team reps, whether it's left tackle or right tackle? And if you listen to LaFleur today, he kind of reiterated what Salah said, that Fant pretty much earned the left tackle spot last year, and he's probably at least going to start there, at least until Beckton can prove that he's healthy. But I mean, week 1, is he even going to be ready to go?
That's the biggest story, man. And it's like, I guess tomorrow Makai Beckton's meeting the media, which is going to be fascinating. Absolutely fascinating, because Rich Cimini has been just grinding him and all over him. And like, I'm curious to see how he handles it. Does he handle it more reserved and say, listen, this is it? Or does he give a lot more detail? Does he get a little nasty with him? I'm fascinated to see how it all plays out.
I think he knows he has to handle it the right way, just because the media and the fans, to a certain extent, have kind of been all over him all offseason. So, why give any extra fuel with, about a month left until training camp? Let things kind of die down a little bit. Hopefully start things off clean slate once you get back for training camp.
Congratulations on getting married.
Well,
That is awesome. That's always a good thing. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm just curious to see how he handles tomorrow, and I'll probably do a recap video or something. I'm just curious. The Jets PR is probably telling him, say these certain things, but like Richardson is gonna be up all night thinking of ways to egg him on to make him say he doesn't want to say or try to decipher some kind of problem or whatever else. He will.
I'm curious whether or not he'll actually give like what his current weight is right now. Because he's going to get asked every which way. If he tries to avoid it, they're going to keep asking. So I'm curious what his response is going to be to that.
So that's the first story is Makai Beckton, and the second story is Denzel Mims coming in with everybody saying the best shape of his life. It's the best they've ever seen him as a Jet, which is great news. Now, how does that translate? And the one thing, it's like, okay, now he's got the body, so there's no more COVID, there's no more bad fish, there's no more all this other stuff. He's got his leg strength, speed, looks, whatever else. Now it's, can he get into his playbook or whatever it is, or figure out how to do the route tree or whatever it is holding him back and let it translate? Because you got to figure out right now, he's probably the sixth receiver, fifth receiver, and he doesn't play special teams. And I think Jeff Smith may have the edge because he contributes on special teams.
He did last year.
I mean, that's like, what's Denzel Mims? Is he probably priming himself to get traded somewhere, do you think? Or does he have a legitimate chance to be on the team?
Depends whether or not they bring in a veteran from here on out. But like you just said, I mean, the first part, which was all on his shoulders, just coming into minicamp in the right shape, like that's what he needed to do first. Because last year, clearly, based on what Salah said, he wasn't in the best shape. Maybe he kind of took some things for granted, but maybe he got a renewed sense of confidence going into this year. It's like, this is my last shot. I got to give it everything I have. But like you said, learn the playbook, catch the football, avoid penalties. If he can show that he can do that, clearly right now there's room for some depth on this team. It's him and Jeff Smith as your five right now, and not really much else. You got what's that kid, Calvin Jackson, and a whole bunch of Tariq Blacks and guys like that. So we were talking about still possibly adding a veteran. So if Denzel Mims can step up over the next couple of weeks, maybe that's his spot.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how they handle him. Like I said, is it basically like it's like right now it's like feel good season. Like from the coaching staff's perspective, everybody looks great, everybody looks good, they all in good shape. It's like this is like the warm and fuzzy part of the offseason where it's every team, all 32 teams have the best team on paper. They're all well prepared. They like where they all sit. And then once you get in the training camp, you figure out, okay, who's in shape, who's not, who's going to start slacking off, who's going to miss meetings. Like it's all these different things.
There are 32
what's up, Marcus?
Great team cultures right now.
Yeah. Fascinated by the versatility potential this offense can be going forward. Thoughts? Marcus, I am ridiculously excited about what Mike LaFleur can do to all the pieces he has, man. That's the tight ends, the running backs, the receivers. They got a lot of options, man.
I forget if it was Connor Hughes or somebody did an article a few days ago about like what the Jets are going to do in the slot. And when you really think about it, they can really like mix and match pretty much all these guys and have them play anywhere where the defense isn't really going to know, who's doing what. So I think there's so much versatility between the wide receivers, the running backs coming out of the backfield, having three tight ends, Rucker, who could possibly be that H-back type of guy. There's so much versatility here. Almost where you worry about keeping guys happy and making sure that they're getting their targets and spreading the ball around.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really interesting. It's just there's a lot of really good pieces. And I think that based on the relationship Berrios has with Zach Wilson, I think they're gonna find a pretty big role for him in this offense, man. Obviously, we all expect a big year out of Elijah Moore and Corey Davis, but I think Berrios may get more snaps and more reps than we think he will. Because I think he's gonna find his niche. He could be the slot guy, man. And then you got to find things for Garrett Wilson. Like they have so many different pieces, and like and it was funny because they Michael Carter, the running back, is such a class act because they were trying to bait him a couple times, but like, are you okay splitting carries? We've got the starting running back. And listen, there's plenty of reps for all of us, man. Like we're okay. Like we're gonna spread the ball around. We all can make an impact. Like, but they're already trying to like get these guys trying to not divide them, but like, hey man, you're losing playing time. But he handled it perfectly, man.
Yeah, I forget the exact something like the more the merrier or whatever like that. But that's the mindset you got to have. I mean, clearly the team drafted a guy that's going to be taking some of your workload. You got to show that you still belong out there. Dude, make the most out of the opportunities that you get. There's plenty of carries to go around.
And that's I think the one thing that is most interesting for me is like you can't take a lot away from mandatory minicamp. You can't. It's just nothing. You're just glad they're all there. They're all getting work in. They seem like they're Zach's showing some good things, but whatever, the training camp. But to me, it's like there's a lot of pressure on Salah, man. I'm not saying this is a make or break year for Saleh in terms of he's going to get fired this year, but you have all these young players. You have increased expectations, but we just talked about it. Look at all the talent you have on offense now. Keeping all these guys happy, making sure you're scheming them all, keep them all like just on the same page, working together. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you got a ton of pass rushers, dude. You got a lot of guys that want to get on the field there too, and young corners.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, what if on the offensive side things are going well, young players are developing, but the defense is still struggling a little bit? I mean, that's ultimately supposed to be Saleh's bread and butter. LaFleur is pretty much handling almost everything on the offensive side. Saleh's got to be the one to make sure he gets the defense going. Him and Ulrich. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like last year he got away with a lot because there's so many he was inexperienced. Team was inexperienced. We had no expectations. This year, a lot more expectations. Now there's a lot more competition where it's like, are you going to play the best man in practice? Or are you going to play like the incumbent? Or like, how does he handle all that? How does he hold guys accountable? You could say you're the hot shot rookie, but you're missing meetings. Does he bench that? Like, how does he handle all these moving parts now? Because now you're becoming, there's a lot more focus on the coach now.
That's ultimately how you develop the kind of culture that you want, though, right? If a player isn't meeting expectations, whether it's because of playbook, work ethic, I mean, they weren't afraid to do it with Denzel Mims last year. So whatever rookies, that he's personally responsible for drafting, it should be the same standard, I would think. Yeah,
it's gonna be really. I mean, there's a lot of like the whole thing, like the evaluating the Saleh. This is like the first year he's really gonna get evaluated a lot to see what you really have in him. See a bunch of questions here. Tyson in primetime. What's up, guys? Hope all is well. What lot are you guys in for tailgate week 1? We'll figure it out, man. It's gonna be wild, though. I can assure you that. I cannot wait to get there. Mr. Slick, do you think Zach will have a good offensive line this year?
Absolutely.
I hope so. I mean, I really hope they sign a backup tackle. I really do. They had what's his face in with Reef. They had him in. Yeah. I think they were trying to bring in somebody else, but I like to have a backup tackle, especially if you see your Beckton and Fant's been out too, because he's recovering from like a surgery or something like that. So have a legitimate veteran guy to back them up where you feel comfortable. If they miss a game or two or whatever else, it's not a significant drop off. That I kind of like that, but overall, I think the offensive line is gonna be a lot more physical. I think Tomlinson brings that. I like what Vera Tucker brings. I think they're going to be pretty good, dude. Well, I mean, like, top 18, maybe top 15?
I would hope. Yeah, I mean, and you like the depth that they have, at least along the interior, between Herbig and Feeney. I mean, those guys, if you need them for a couple weeks to fill in, you feel okay with that. But, yeah, it's certainly a backup tackle right now. I don't know if we feel too great about Adoga or McDermott, long term. I don't know what you're going to get out of Mitchell early in the season as a rookie 4th-round pick. I think he's probably going to be inactive more often than not. So, yeah, if you could still add a veteran, I think they got about $8 to $12 million after him. He can give us the numbers. If you can somehow bring in a veteran, Riley Reef, or if somebody gets cut before training camp or during training camp, got to be all over it.
Going to mini camp tomorrow, Anthony I should look out for. Just nobody gets hurt. That's it, man. It was so funny. Like, they showed the one thing of, like, Sauce Gardner, like, covering somebody. It was a warm-up. Like, look at that coverage. What a ball hawk. It was literally a warm-up drill. Like, come on, man. Like, that's why I'm like, you know what? I gotta stay on social media. I gotta stay on Twitter because I just can't. I can't get involved in this shit right now. It's just, and I get it. Like, we're all excited, but like, talk about chasing like clicks and stuff. My God,
that's the problem. Like, every tweet, it takes a life of its own. It doesn't matter that Zach Wilson was 10 of 13 and 11 on 11s, 13 of 16, 7 on 7s. He missed that one pass in red zone. So then all the Dolphin fans and Patriot fans, they start quote tweeting that, and that blows up. Zach Wilson struggled in minicamp. Like, all these different tweets take a life of their own. It's crazy to watch.
Just bring me to training camp, man. Tyson and Kevin, have you made your Green Bay road plans yet? Dude, right now, I was shocked how much it was. Right now, I saw flights are like $750. And then I was looking at rooms, like the rooms, I think the ones you showed us were like $500 a night or something like that. My buddy's like, you got to stay at this hotel. That hotel's already sold out. I was like, the tickets, like, I don't care about. Tickets are like $300 low level. Cool with that. But to fly, I'm like $800 to go to Green Bay. I'm like, what?
All right, so let's drive and build a fucking igloo.
Just like, and I saw what's his face. Brandon Tierney has that road trip
where it's like, that was like $2,000 though, right?
Yeah, it's like like if you're like $2,300 a person, it's a all inclusive thing.
Nights.
But you fly into Chicago. They take a bus to Green Bay and all this other shit. But I'm like, woof, man, like that. Yeah, his trip is really expensive too, man. They have like a lot of like dinners and tailgates and all this other shit too. But
if that was half the price, I would do it.
Yeah, that price is wild. Yeah, $10 million of cap space. So they have plenty of room to make if they want to pick up anybody. Obviously, they had the offers out to the defensive tackle. What was it? With Quan Alexander. Then they had with the other guy too, Riley Reef. I mean, they got money out there, man.
Captain Brown,
So,
right?
yep. So we'll see. They got plenty. This is where kind of Joe Douglas, you wait, and then once training camp happens, any kind of cuts happen, then you can do that as well. So, Sauce Gardner paid DJ Reed $50,000 for his number one, which is great.
Not a quarterback.
So yeah, we got Afram, our good friend, our salary cap guy, $9.9 million currently.
And they can still create more space too. They still have some guys that can cut if they need some extra room. So.
We saw Greg Van Roten went to the Bills.
Along with Crowder, and didn't they sign somebody else too?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, fire them out. There's really not a lot to talk about, man. Like, this is mandatory minicamp. I think tomorrow when Saleh meets the media, Beckton meets the media, I mean, you got to like Zach Wilson saying all the right things. Everybody's saying all the right thing right now. It's just like get to end of July. I mean, just get to August. Like, this is like I wouldn't be surprised they do like a half-hour practice tomorrow. I'll go bowling or some shit, I
was gonna say it's only 2 days, right? Because initially I thought it was 3, and then I thought it's only 2, right? Yeah, just avoid any injuries, avoid any off the field stuff. No DUIs, nothing stupid.
A lot of the teams, they'll make it like, I guess they have a lot of fans are going tomorrow. A lot of teams will do like a small practice, then the players all sign autographs for 20 minutes, and then they all leave. They don't, so.
Where was Aaron?
We'll see. Yeah, we didn't get shipped. Let's see. Are you guys actually going to the Generals championship game? Isn't 4th of July weekend? Like, it's a holiday weekend, isn't it?
Oh, man. That stinks.
And it's in Canton, Ohio. I think that's when it is, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I don't know. I thought it was. You can look it up. The Generals are playing good football. I just can't. You know what it was? It was so hard. Yeah, it's the 4th of July weekend. I'm out. I'm not going on a holiday. Like, the USFL goes out of their way to make things inconvenient for all their fans. They do. It's like they have games at random times. They put you on different channels. Like, no consistency. They only played in They only played in Alabama.
I noticed that. Like, 1 week it's Friday, then it's Sunday, then Saturday. Can't keep up.
Yeah. No, they're in the Final Four, Javed. They're in the if they win this, they play this Saturday at 3:00. If they win, they're in the championship game. Yankees are winning 2-0. I think the Mets are winning 2, aren't they?
Yeah, 3-0.
So if you guys have any questions you want to talk about, road trips, the home opener, definitely we're going to that. That's gonna be a really good time. I cannot wait for that. It should be interesting. Any other road trips you guys are doing? And then the other thing too is I got a bunch of responses, and we're doing the fan interviews too. So if you want to do a fan interview, just email us, talkjetsradio@gmail.com. I forgot about that. Let's see what we got here. 3-0 Mets. Saleh needs to put his stamp on this defense. I know he was sick watching the D-line getting pushed around last year. It was interesting to see that Nathan Shepard took less money to stay here. Yeah. And it's interesting to see that everybody keeps saying the Jets need more run defenders. Like, we have like a gazillion defensive linemen.
Well, I think Shepard knows he's going to be part of a rotation, so he's going to see snaps no matter what. Like, he goes somewhere else, his depth, he's going to see the field, 20% of the time? But like here, he knows he's going to get rotated in to see legitimate snaps. So that probably helps for his next contract, at least.
Really cool seeing Revis confirm that he's spoken to Sauce Gardner, has taken the promising defender under his wing. They've exchanged numbers to communicate. Yeah, I mean, I think Revis from time to time would stop by practice with the Jets. He stays pretty cool with the organization. Obviously, Nick Mangold and DeBrickashaw, Ring of Honor as well, which they're all three three phenomenal candidates to go in there. It's like, makes you feel old as shit because I remember when they were drafted. Yeah, it's just like, but it's cool.
Yeah, we like that Revis is talking to Sauce now. I don't know if we're going to like it in 3 or 4 years.
When he wants the money.
Exactly.
That's true. That's a very good point. But I'll take it for now.
101.
Yeah. But I mean, I like that there's guys coming in and helping them. Also, there's been several stories written about how Zach Wilson has less voices in his ears too. Now with John Beck is gone, Matt Cavanaugh's gone. Now it's just Calabrese and LaFleur, like 3 guys getting it together. That's probably a good thing too, man. Like they learned a lot of lessons last year in the during the season and then coming into the off season.
That would drive me nuts in points last year, like where he would have a pick or make a bad throw. You get back to the sideline, you got 4 different guys that are all talking to him. Like that's got to be confusing. So just having one voice that's consistent with the same message, I think that's important. And I think LaFleur
Armand has lost 48 pounds. Congratulations on that.
Nice.
I think also too, he lost since April 12th. That's not bad. So what was that? 3 months? 2 months?
Amazing.
That's crazy. The other thing too is that you also have Joe Flacco too. So it's like Joe Flacco's the veteran guy. Apparently, him and Zach Wilson get along great. So that's if you need like the eyes and ears to help you read defenses and figure things out. He's also an asset as well.
Yep.
What else we got here? Wait, hold on. The Jets nightmares. This is exactly what Primetime said. Jets nightmares. Reeves becoming sausage agent. Very, very true.
That'd be something.
How'd you lose 48 pounds in 2 months? That's a lot of weight, man. Damn.
Change your diet.
Probably some like cleanse or some stuff.
Cardio.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, what else there to talk about Primetime? There's a lot of like just. I know that Ulbrich said there's no assholes on this team. The guys are all like they're all just good guys. They all like work together. Yeah. Until they don't start playing.
Wait until reps start being divided out and guys start getting second team, third team. Then we'll see.
Yep, absolutely. How do you guys see the running back position playing out? I think that's interesting because I think Coleman is probably going to be. I think he's making the team. People keep thinking he's going to get cut. I don't think he's getting cut. Good.
The more I think about it with Coleman just being the lone veteran who's barely making anything, who knows the system, he's probably locked in. But I still think there's a chance that somebody like Zonovan Knight or maybe even Ty Johnson or P. Ryan, but more likely Zonovan Knight, just he's like that change of pace type of back, like the power back in between.
Ty Johnson's on this roster. I'm going to fire myself.
I'm just leaving the door open for one of those two to maybe take a step. Very unlikely, but like I said, more likely than not, a guy like Zonovan Knight, who's a different type of back. I think there's a possibility maybe they would keep 4 backs with Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, I definitely think that. What's we got here? Oops. There'll definitely be a tailgate week 1. I know there's a bunch of guys trying to organize one. We'll figure it all out and communicate to everybody though for sure.
As long as I got somewhere to bring my grill and cook. I haven't cooked in a while.
Conklin revealed the Zuma will be heading to tight end U. Yeah, they're all going, man. There's a lot of really good things happening to the Jets. Uzuma, hopefully he's healthy. He hasn't been practicing. But yeah, they're all involved in that. Let's see. I think Ty Johnson gets cut as well. I can't say making the team, but you keep him around.
Can't catch the football.
No. Tyson, we're going to Buffalo week 14. No, I'm not going to Buffalo ever again. Your boy, look, Primetime, your friend is back. So now my question is, what is Sam going to do when he's sitting behind Baker Mayfield now? I mean, he's just going to get $18 million.
That would be a fun competition.
$18 million to be a backup now. Matt Rule completely blew it. Like he completely blew the quarterback position there. He did. But Sam has got to be like, what the hell? Like, give me I think it would benefit Sam to sit a year at this point in his career, just to take a step back, be a backup for a year, to watch the game a little bit, and then maybe in 2 or 3 years he gets another shot. But right now he's not where he used to be. I have a hookup in Miami. If we are in a win and in situation, I get free tickets and everything covered. You guys in with me. I hope you guys up too. 1,000% in for that.
Absolutely. Man,
there'll be thousands of Jet fans down there for that one for sure.
Oh, we would take that. Let's
see. We got some more running back talk. Hall, Carter, Coleman, and Knight will be our running backs. Yeah, I think P. Ryan's gone. Ty Johnson's gone. I like Austin Walter, but he'll probably be a practice squad kind of guy.
They liked him last year.
Sam would be good in New Orleans. He would be.
Good in the USFL.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the rumor is that Carolina's trying to trade for Baker Mayfield, but it's the money, it's the contract that's killing them. So we'll see. That's interesting though. I'm trying to think what other topics came up over the last week or so.
I'm just so devastated by the Rangers.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. It was their time. They choked that right away.
I knew it after game 3. Once you let a team like Tampa get the momentum back, it's hard to get it back.
Then you saw the rumor too, where that if it wasn't for the Brian Flores lawsuit, Sean Payton was going to be the coach of the Miami Dolphins, and Tom Brady was going to be the quarterback. Could you imagine?
5 years, $100 million, right?
Could you imagine Sean Payton came into our division? I
could, yeah.
And dealing with Brady again too.
Belichick and the Bills would still be the best team in the division.
And they said Belichick wants to coach lacrosse now or some nonsense.
What? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. DQ Thomas is the second best linebacker on this roster. It's interesting because they're really hyping up Quincy Williams, man. They're really, really hyping him up, saying his communication's getting better. He's explosive. He's really picking up things. Looks a lot
Show more
better.
leadership.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see what they do with the linebacker. I still like to get somebody else. They're also giving a lot of praise to Pinnock, but again, this is all like again, it's all coach speak now. I mean, I think you say a lot of things to keep your players motivated, so when they go in for the next like 6 weeks, they train their asses off, come back like in the best shape of their lives.
If you could pick two positions to bring in some veterans, is it linebacker and O-line right now, or offensive tackle? Or are you looking at another receiver?
I would definitely say offensive tackle. I mean, you're one CJ Mosley injury away from being in trouble, dude. That's what I think. And who's behind him?
I'd like to know where Sherwood is off the surgery. That was Achilles.
He didn't practice today. And the other thing is too is like, I mean, I guess we all kind of have a lot of confidence, I guess, in Pinnock and those other guys. But LaMarcus Joyner, I mean, he hasn't played in a couple of years now too. So if he goes down, Ashton Davis, with the other guy Riley. Yeah, I mean safety too. Maybe tackle, safety, linebacker. I mean, wide receiver, we talked about it earlier. They probably already have 5 or 6 guys now. I mean, do you want another one? I don't know. I mean, I kind of do, but then it's like, who is it? Who's going to be cut there?
I would
Speaking
think
of Notre,
right now it's linebacker and offensive tackle.
Notre Dame knocking out Tennessee in the baseball.
That was a big time upset. That was a huge upset.
That's what we do, man. It's what we do. Robbie Anderson wanted to retire at some point when he tweeted that out. I don't know what's going on with him. O-line and linebackers. I mean, I'm thinking they have to pick up another linebacker, right? Because
I think so. And like the reason you can afford to maybe wait on a safety is just because you improve the corner so much. I mean, you invested the 4th overall pick in Gardner. You signed DJ Reed. That should help out your safeties a lot. But your front 7, you still need some speed. You need to cover backs and tight ends. Right now, I mean, do you trust Nashville Dean, Sherwood, Harris? Do you trust those guys to do it?
Who's the guy from the 49ers you picked up? Harris?
Yeah, Marcel Harris.
Yeah, that's who it was. He's like a hybrid, like linebacker safety kind of guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got like 20 starts over the last like 2 or 3 years. So he's got experience.
The other thing too is like apparently it's a legitimate kicking battle too, where Panero and Zerline they're going kick for kick.
I wonder if they're actually going to kick this summer instead of just like going through the motion of.
Dude, did you? I'll wait for this comment. I'll wait because I'm so curious about training camp, dude. Because there's already rumors that it's going to be similar to last year. Like it's not going to be a physical camp.
Oh, like a lot of walkthroughs and stuff like that.
We'll see. Agree, disagree. Going forward, I would trade our 2nd round pick every year for getting an established player at a position of need. Why can't you get him in the 2nd round?
Or sign him as a free agent.
You can't have 4 first-round picks every year, man. It's going to kill your salary cap too. You can't afford to keep them all. Let's see what we got here. Adding Quan Alexander and Riley Reef would put a cherry on top of this offseason. Now, what's the rap with Reef? I know he's an experienced tackle. He obviously the Bengals offensive line wasn't very good. They struggled at times. I
was reading somewhere about him a couple of weeks ago when there was somebody that put out something about him still being out there. There's one thing he doesn't do well. I forget what it is. I don't know if it's run blocking, pass blocking, or penalties. Like there's something that he's like atrocious at.
Yeah, so we got to figure what that is. Let's see. We still have loads of money, judging by how aggressive Joe Douglas was this offseason. He's not done yet. Once training camp starts, Metcalf. We're going to trade for Metcalf? We don't even need him.
Wait, what? What just happened? Why?
Then what are we chasing wide receivers for now? We have like 6. Like you have Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis.
I mean, even if you're going to get rid of Corey Davis at the end of the season, I mean, are you going to be able to get targets to all 3 of those guys?
Yeah, I like where the Jets offense is right now. If I'm spending money, we're spending money at different positions, man. Definitely, linebacker. If you want to upgrade, try to get backup, like a backup help with tackle, but I can't see that. Let's see. I really hope Mims proves why we took him with a 2nd round pick this year. Showed a lot of potential. He's got an uphill battle, man. He's got a lot to prove on and off the field with the Jets. And I think if he doesn't, I think he's probably traded.
But he's got an opportunity to do it, though. I mean, they don't have a ton of depth, or at least a ton of proven depth. I mean, you got Jeff Smith and a whole bunch of journeymen, pretty much.
Then this is doing training camp, being afraid of getting gas leads to teams in season who get tired and hurt. And that's the old kind of like Bill, like I'm old school. So like the whole Bill Parcells, the physical practices, like how you practice is how you play. Like we do that in our gym. It's like how you spar is how you fight. Like it's the same kind of thing. And if you have a lot of soft practices like this early on in the season, you can get pushed around. Like that's
especially with
a
that
fine
schedule,
line,
the defenses you're going to be playing. I mean, you got to be ready to go week one. You can't have the same kind of training that you did last year.
I don't like, especially all these young players, man. Like you want to get them like, I don't know. I want a physical football team.
Me too.
Can Jeremy Ruckert be Patrick Richard so we can utilize him this year, considering I think they can find a lot of ways to use him, man. I think they're going to be pretty creative with all the tight ends, man. Right?
Even
the
fullbacks?
Wesco could be gone.
Okay. Wow.
I think he could be.
Ruckert's versatile, man. I mean, being a third tight end, you should be able to come up with some different packages, use them in some creative ways, put him in the backfield as a lead blocker.
Especially, you can go 2-3 tight ends if you want it. You can do all kinds of different things. Hyping up Mims to trade him. That could very well be, man. Rather sign Eric Fisher or Reef? Good question there.
Fisher's a little bit older, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's on his last legs. But yeah, he's probably better. Do you let's see? Do you guys know the dates for training camp that fans can attend yet? They haven't announced it yet, and I'm curious two things: when are they going to announce it, and how many practices are going to be open to the fans? Because like last year was only like 5 or 6, and like 2 of them are rained out.
Won't be more than 6.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it is, man. I hope they do a lot more this year.
They got to hide everything they're doing. Can't let Belichick know.
Especially when the fans are filming everything and putting it on Twitter right away and just giving it all away anyway. So who cares? But the media can't do that.
That's where it all started, though. Like all the don't videotape shit with all the Mangini Belichick stuff. That's where this all started. You used to be able to go videotape whatever you wanted.
Yeah. So then you had the kicker battle, and then it's like what I was trying to think of before was how many starting positions are literally up for grabs right now as we go into in the regular season. So you go in the training camp. So you start on offense. On offense at running back, is it really going to be a true starter, or are they going to all rotate a lot?
Well, you could say that the starter's up for grabs. Like going into camp, Carter versus Breece Hall. I think that's a legitimate competition as far as who's going to get the majority of the reps. It might not be a huge gap, but I still think it's a competition there.
Okay, so do you think there's battles at wide receiver? Or are they all pretty? There's not going to be any surprises, I don't think, at wide receiver, right?
You know your top 4 are all going to be on the field. I'm fascinated to see how they're going to use them. Because like you said, I think Berrios fits in this offense. He's got chemistry with Wilson. So is Corey Davis the odd man out who's making the most money? I don't know.
I mean, and then you have the tight end group where it's like, Zuma and Conklin. I like Conklin a lot, but I think they're both going to see, like, is it going to be a true starter, or are they just going to, like, rotate week in and week out, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, are there, like, so, like, on offense, is there any legitimate spots up for grabs? I mean, the offensive line, I think it's obviously if Fant's left tackle, Beckton goes to right tackle. How many spots are really up for grabs on offense? Like legitimate starting spots?
Other than running back, I mean, probably none. You know who your starting 5 offensive linemen are going to be. I think the reps between the 2 tight ends are going to be split pretty evenly. And yeah, I mean, your 4 receivers are going to be out there, especially your 2 early draft picks with Moore and Wilson. I think they're going to see the majority of your reps. So yeah, I don't think there's really any other like starting battles that are up for grabs other than the running back spot, really.
Yeah, I mean, the backup's going to be Flacco, no doubt about that. Mike White. So then you go to defense, and defense is interesting because you have, I think if you start, the corners are obvious. Obviously, DJ Reed, I think they're saying Sauce Gardner's not the starter, but I think he's going to be the starter unless he has a colossal, like an epically bad training camp. So then I think maybe slot corner could be like the nickel. That could be up for grabs because you have a lot of guys that aren't going to be on the outside anymore, could be all competing for that. That could be a spot up for grabs, right?
I was going to say, a lot of people have assumed that, Bryce Hall and Eccles are just going to be your 3 and 4 backing up on the outside. But what if they could play a slot corner better than Michael Carter can?
Yep. So then the other thing is, too, I wonder if LaMarcus Joyner is going to be handed the job at safety or somebody could beat him out. If a Pennick could beat him out or somebody else can, possibly beat him out.
I have a funny feeling they're just going to want his veteran experience to kind of help out, especially with Gardner and possibly another young corner out there. I know you're going to have Reed, who's going to bring some experience on one side, but I just have a funny feeling they're going to want some veteran experience on the back end, especially if you have Pinnock or somebody else that's young as your other safety.
Yeah. You got Jordan Whitehead back there, too. It helps a lot. But yeah, Whitehead. I was saying Whitehead's a pretty good veteran. Like that's what I'm saying. I was wondering if, like, with Whitehead there, could somebody sneak in and maybe get – I don't know, but I'm just wondering. Then for the corners, all right, maybe –
that's why I forgot about him. Didn't know anything about him today.
That's what I was figuring. That's why Joyner could be actually competing for a spot, especially based on all his injuries. Then you have maybe the nickel corner. But then it's like linebacker. I mean, Mosley, it seems like Quincy Williams is pretty much at this point solidified unless they sign somebody. They're talking about him a lot.
Quincy Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as making the roster, yeah, he's not going anywhere. I mean, you don't really have any depth. I mean, you have Nashville Dean, you got Sherwood, and you got Harris. And who else is really even talked about, like, as far as making the roster other than that?
Yep. So then this comes down to the defensive line, the outside guy. And it's like, all right, then I think maybe it's just, they have so many guys. It's, you pick your poison, who you want to play. I think they're all like, is there going to be any surprise starters though? I mean, obviously if Lawson comes back, he's going to be one.
The only surprise might be how they rotate certain guys on run downs versus passing downs. Like, do you look to try to get maybe Nathan Shepard in there early on and then have Rankins come in on third downs as your pass rush guy in the interior? John Franklin Myers, they've talked about having him on the outside early downs, moving inside on pass rush down. So I think it's just more about how they're going to rotate them based on the down and distance and stuff like that.
Does Michael Clemens make the team? I think he does.
Absolutely.
I think they're very, very high on him.
Fourth round pick. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. Ulbrich is the biggest wild card on the defense. Did not like his scheme last year. Thought they'd move on. I didn't like him either. And I think they better do a lot of self-scouting and figure out their mistakes because nobody's going to accept the excuse they used last year. Nobody, not this year, they're not.
How much of all that falls on Saleh, though? To change things in practice, ultimately, you're the head coach. Like, everything should fall on you, especially as a defensive guy. So if there's something that he doesn't like, whether it's scheme-related, rotation, whatever, like, that should fall on him at the end of the day, not Ulbrich. I
mean, they added a ton of pass rushers, dude. A ton. I mean, they should have last year was like the young corners survived with nobody helping in front. They should be thinking a lot more pressure this year. That whole secondary should flourish. I mean, they should be a lot more competitive. And I think if it doesn't, I mean, I'd be shocked. I mean, because there's just too much talent now.
What are your expectations for Jermaine Johnson this year? I got a funny feeling that he might not see the field as much as we anticipate. Just like being a first-round pick, you would think he's going to be out there a lot, especially pass rush downs. But, I mean, you got Jacob Martin, you got Bryce Huff, who have done it before, who I think are also going to be part of your rotation. Plus Carl Lawson coming back.
If he's a situational guy, dude, and he's learning from these guys and they come in, like him coming off the edge, I think it's a good thing, man. Like, kind of build him up slowly. Just, 5, whatever it is, 5, 10, 12 rep, just keep building up. The season goes along. Guys always get hurt, so he can get still in there. But I think he'll be fine, man. I think that's the one thing where you had the pass rushers. Like, if you want to say, you know what, we'll save Carl Lawson for third down sometimes. Okay, like, how's that a bad thing?
Yeah, a lot of reports on him though say like one of his strengths is actually that he plays the run really well. So I mean, I'm wondering if he's one of those guys who could be in there early downs, and then you're going with Bryce Huff, who's done pretty well as far as his pass rush productivity. Maybe he gets more of a look as Jermaine Johnson develops some of those pass rush moves and stuff like that.
Does Bryce Huff even make the 53? I think he does.
I think so.
Yeah, I think they like we bring say that speed off the edge. I think they like that. What was a good comment here? Can you see Saleh calling the defense should Ulbrich struggle? I definitely could. I definitely think so too, because I think if this season starts to spiral a little bit out of control, things start going the wrong way, Saleh realizes that this team's going to be held accountable this year, where they can't get blown out and losing and pull out bullshit excuses in the media. Like, he's going to step in and say, listen, we got to clean things up a little bit. So I think he definitely will.
Be the CEO type of head coach that you were promised to be. Defense is your bread and butter. Take charge with it. If something's wrong with it, address it.
Especially on defense, man, where it's like that's your bread and butter. That's what you should know. These are your guys, your scheme, like you talked about. He's got to be able to step in. And if you got to ruffle some feathers, so be it. That's life, man. Yeah. I think this is a good point from Dan. Jermaine Johnson is a plus defensive end against the run, sets the edge well, can rush the passer. He's definitely a 3-down player in the future, but they could bring him in slowly to start the year, just get him acclimated to the speed of the NFL, figuring out how people are going to attack him, and then have that energy and his explosiveness, as the game wears on, where the offensive linemen start getting tired. That's pretty cool, man. Something we hadn't had in a long time.
It's definitely not going to be a concern, our energy level in the fourth quarter with the D-line, the way they rotate everything. No. And we actually have talent to rotate, so, I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I mean, you figure you have all these DFs. You have speed guys, you have physical guys, you have all shapes and sizes. Like Vinny Curry's still out there. I mean, I think it looks pretty good, man. Yeah, Solomon Thomas, another guy nobody even talks about. So
even guys last year, in training camp, are doing good. Tanzel Smart and the 7th round pick Jonathan Marshall, those guys were actually making some plays. Like, they could be part of the mix too. Bradley Anai is somebody we haven't talked about. Like, he was a high draft pick a few years ago at the Cowboys.
There's a lot of them, dude.
Yeah.
Given what we did in the draft and free agency and with Carl Lutz coming back, are you guys excited about the pass rush this year? We have a lot of speed. This will probably be the best pass rush we've seen probably since going back to like Rex Ryan days, man.
Yeah.
It's
and the biggest thing is that having that speed off the edge, that should finally open things up for Quentin Williams in the middle.
Yep.
Like he's been the focal point pretty much the last couple of years. Now there should be some attention off of him finally.
Yeah. Yeah, then if you can generate that kind of pressure without blitzing, your secondary will be able to cover so much more. Like you have so much more that creates turnovers. That does so many different things. We haven't had this in years, dude. Not this level of this many guys that can actually attack the quarterback with speed, explosiveness, and hopefully an aggressive defensive coordinator too. A guy's going to let him. And last year they said they're going to pin their ears back. They really didn't do that.
And not for nothing, the biggest difference between this team and the Rex teams, the Rex's teams, they got their pass rush with the blitz. This team has the potential to do it with just the front four, or maybe 4 or 5 rushers. Like they've got legitimate talent across the board in that front four. So find some ways to get creative with your stunts, make it happen. There's talent there.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of competition, a lot of talent. We have 2 kickers, so it was exciting. So Leonard Williams was a big disappointment. I mean, Leonard Williams was a disappointment based on where he was drafted, man. That's kind of where Quentin Williams is kind of falling into now. But I think Quentin Williams has more upside. I think he can do a lot more.
It's exactly the same conversation. Good to great player, but are they worth 15 to 18 plus million or whatever they're asking for? Can they take over a game?
Top 5 underrated Jets, top 5 overrated Jets. We're talking all time here?
Damn.
Overrated Jets?
Underrated. I mean, Bilal Powell you throw in there.
Mo Lewis. Lewis definitely underrated.
Victor Green, I thought was underrated. Ray Mickens, incredibly underrated.
Ray Mickens.
9-10 years in the slot.
I think David Harris. I think, to be honest, I think the Brickashaw Ferguson was underrated too. I think we realized how good he was for so long. He's kind of taken for granted a little bit.
Brandon Moore, you definitely got to throw in there.
Another one. Let's see.
I think more recently, but we haven't had a whole lot of good guys recently that would be underrated.
Yeah. Overrated Jets. Le'Veon Bell was definitely one.
Yes.
Let's see who else was overrated. That means we're better than we thought. He's worse than we thought he was.
Overrated.
Let's see.
Because usually if a guy's bad, we let him know it. We don't overrate.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, overrated. So people that we think that's a good question. Who's the most overrated Jets of all time?
Yeah, I guess Sam Darnold. I mean, that's a good comment here. Sam Darnold.
He could be overrated. That's a good question. I got to think about that one. Marcus Coleman underrated. Marcus Coleman was a very good corner, man. He got so much better as his career went on. That's a really good question. I got to think about that one. Overrated Jets players. Tremaine Johnson wasn't overrated because he sucked here.
Yeah, overpaid, yeah.
Yeah, he's overpaid him. So we got here's Dan. Underrated
I'm
guys.
stumped on the overrated ones right now.
Kyle Clifton, Brandon Moore, Eric McMillan, Ray Lucas, Mo Lewis. Mo Lewis is definitely underrated, man. Everybody focuses way too much on the Tom Brady aspect of it.
Ray Lucas too. That's another good one. Still kills me that he wasn't the starting quarterback earlier when Vinny went down.
Jim Leonard, was he underrated?
There's
no way Keyshawn Johnson was overrated. Freaking guy went to the Pro Bowl. Come on, man. I would defend Keyshawn to my death. Santonio Holmes was good early on, and then he went to shit. Denzel Mims overrated. You can almost
make a case that Keyshawn was a little overrated.
What? Look at his
numbers. Based on today's standards for like a true number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, look at it. Look at 1998. He's a true number 1 receiver. Look at his playoff game.
Well, I'm saying after his first 5 or 6 years, I mean, he was
good. He was the Buccaneers and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. But he
won
caught
a Pro Bowl MVP.
Balls, 90. What did he catch that year with the Super Bowl?
Well, I forget. He wasn't. I don't think.
I'm saying like, he wasn't like a deep threat. He wasn't a precision route runner. Like he did a lot of
precision route runner. He's a good route runner. Great hands, physical.
Yeah,
he could do it all.
Physical. He was great in the red zone. He had a lot of traits that he was great at. I'm just saying, like by today's standards of a number 1 wideout, you think of a guy that's like 6'4", 215, whatever he is. Slightly overrated.
Underrated Kotri. I think the fans all love Kotri. I think we kind of. Yeah. Jeremy Curley, another one.
I wanted to say Quincy and Ninwa for underrated. he could have stayed healthy.
Got hurt too much.
Yeah.
Fucking Fitzpatrick. Oh, like you know what? That's
That's a great overrated one.
I can't take that guy. I respect what he did in 2015, but overall his Jets career, I hate the guy. Like he choked in Buffalo, and then he completely the whole offseason drama. He had the 6 interception game in since against Kansas City. Then he shit on the organization when he's still on the team.
Yep.
I couldn't take him, dude. Like the experience for me wasn't good with him. I doesn't completely pass on him.
He was given a second life, and then he threw everybody under the bus the second it started going south.
Everybody's like, "Oh, we got to praise him. Such a great Jet." No, he had a decent 13 games. Then what went to shit? Chris Ivory underrated.
It's pretty good.
Chase Amaro. Oh, here's a good one. Neil O'Donnell, man, that's a good one, Kevin.
That's a very good one.
That's a very good. I went to the game where he got hurt in warmups. He hurt his calf in warmups against the Tennessee Titans or against the I don't know if they were even called then. Oh, I was so pissed.
Oh,
dude, literally watching the warmups. Dude, watching it was raining out, and he pulls his calf. I'm like, where's he going? Hurt in warmups.
I was probably there for that too. I just don't remember.
Quinn and Copel's overrated. Oh, Dwayne Robertson overrated.
See, those are just busts though.
You know who's underrated? I got one for you. Brian Thomas. Definitely underrated. I think Brian Thomas is a really good player, man.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It's another good one.
That's a guy I liked a
Great
lot.
run defender, usually close to 8-9 sacks a year. Very good player.
So we got, hold on, there we got Dan here. Overrated. Kerry Rhodes. Well, Kerry Rhodes, until he got his contract, played well. Fitzpatrick, Neil O'Donnell. Sione Puha was another good player. Well, Mike DeVito was a pretty good. Yeah, DeVito was a good player too, man. We had a lot of those like lunch pail guys that they just did a lot of really good things and didn't get credit for it.
Mike DeVito, Marquise Douglas for a couple years.
What about Tony Richardson, man? He was a valuable piece to the team too. He was like him, and who was the other guy?
He was a borderline Hall of Famer though.
Yep. I mean, the Jets, like you kind of we had like good fullbacks for a couple of years. You had Richie Anderson, Tony Richardson, you had all those guys.
Yeah.
Yep. You've got to be kidding me, man. Salim Akeem, underrated? What?
Salim the Dream.
My God, that guy.
Here's a great one. Mo Wilkerson, overrated.
Definitely overrated, man. That's a sad story on so many different levels, man. A sad story is local kid made it big, blew it here, left here, and blew it even more, dude. Like he never recovered. He never salvaged his career after that.
He should have been one of those players that was coming back every year, Ring of Honor type of guy.
Yep.
Yeah, hometown kid. He had everything going for him. It's a shame how that going down.
Here's a good one. Brad Smith. Brad Smith was definitely a good player, man.
Yep.
Let's see. Overrated Corey Davis. Let's hope not. Let's see what we got here. Sheldon Richardson. He was solid, man.
Underrated or overrated?
I don't know. He was a solid player. I had no problems with Sheldon. This is a guy that got lost in John Abraham's shadow a little bit. Sean Ellis is a very good player, man, but he didn't put the gaudy stacks. He had the big playoff game, but he didn't put the big numbers that everybody wanted John Abraham to do. But he was consistent as hell, man.
Complete
Sean
player.
Ellis is a good player.
Yep. Against the run. He would get his sacks in big moments, too. Like you said, the Patriot game, that was a big one. He was all over.
Percy. Got a Percy Harvin mention. That was
terrible.
That was rough. Tim Tebow. God help us. Tebow, I lived through that. Oh, my God.
Reno Giacomini, underrated?
He was horrendous.
He was awful when he was here.
See, now this one I don't necessarily agree with. Bart Scott, overrated. I mean, he was initially brought here to implement Rex's defense, become a leader, and kind of change the attitude, change the culture. He did that, and his play kind of fell off when he hurt his toe towards the end. But I thought he was.
I would just say underrated because he did a lot of the dirty work that allowed guys like David Harris and others to actually make plays.
Yeah, I thought he was good, man.
He wouldn't get a lot of the stats, but he would take on those offensive linemen and free up other guys to make plays. So.
And he did a lot for Rex too, man. He was like the voice in the locker room. He helped a lot, man. I don't think he's a Thomas Jones. He's a Pro Bowl running back. Very good player. Pete Kendall, another guy, solid guy. Even like Damian Woody, man. He was a very good contributor too. No, we don't need another Chris Johnson interview. Jermaine Kearse. Woof.
Oh.
We're pushing our
He
luck
was a
now, aren't we?
solid veteran. I don't know if I'd say he was underrated. I mean, we kind of
No,
just
I
knew
don't
what
think
he
so either,
was.
man. Joe McKnight's a good mention, man. Very good player.
Yep. I always thought he was going to be
Dustin,
more as a running back. Great special teams guy. I just thought he was going to be more of a weapon out of the backfield.
I don't think Dustin Keller was underrated. He was an average tight end. Right? I think he's anything.
I think we thought he was going to be more than he was, and then injuries and bad quarterback play and a lot of other things happened.
What's up, Blade? No, the question we were asked was top 5 underrated, top 5 overrated players, and we got caught in this rabbit hole now. So now we're in here doing this. David Harris should be in the Ring of Honor. 1,000% agree.
Very surprised he didn't go in with the other 3.
Marcus May was so overrated. He was a good player on a horrible team. Woof. That's a blistering take.
I don't know if he's overrated, though. I don't know many Jet fans that were saying, Marcus May was a Pro Bowler. I think he was a good player on a bad team, like you just said.
I think he's a solid player, though.
Much more than that. I don't know.
And he's got how much money from the Saints? I mean, teams like him. He just
what, $8 million or something. It wasn't a whole lot.
Eric Decker. I don't think Eric Decker was overrated. I think he put up some consistent numbers. I mean, he was brought in for a certain role and he fulfilled it. Leon Washington, underrated.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Leon was because he's a good player, very versatile player. Let's see what else we got here. Leon.
David Clowney, you're talking about training camp underrated.
Brad Smith was the man. Yeah. David Clowney. Clyde Gates. That was the yearly preseason MVP.
Every year Clowney was lighting it up.
How is Braylon Edwards overrated? What is Bronx made? What are your Braylon Edwards was like a fan favorite. Loved being a Jet, gave his all, and like I don't know what. If anything, you say Plaxico was. Not Braylon.
I think part of the problem with Braylon is that he was a 3rd overall pick. He had the 1 year where he caught like 17 touchdowns. So everyone's thinking, all right, this is like a true number 1 wide receiver, and he never became that. But his time here,
as a Jet, he was fine though.
No, I was saying his time here, he did everything that we needed him to do. I was happy with his time here. Once he left, he fell off.
Brandon Moore definitely. I mean, he wanted to stay here too, but then we have fucking Derek Mason. These other clowns. Let's see. We got Bilal Powell. That's Chancey Stuckey. Now we're just going. Here's 2. Demario Davis and John Vilma.
Well,
Vilma was a very good player, man.
Davis, yes and no, because I thought he was underrated when he was here, but he really took off when he left here. Like once he went to the Saints, that's where his career really took off.
Well, he played. We all assumed he was coming back before he went to the Saints. We thought he was going to re-sign him because he was playing pretty well, and then they just went in a different direction.
And he was here twice too. They got rid of him once, and they traded Calvin Pryor and got him back, and they still let him walk after that.
So now she changed her question. Same question, but now the current team. Who are 5 guys that are overrated on our team? We'll say 3 because that's a lot. We'll say 3 overrated, 3 underrated.
Now you're going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, now we're going to get all the hate. No, I'm not answering this question because what you guys are going to do is you're going to cut and tape this, put this shit on social media, and the players are all like start attacking us and shit. It's just started following us again. We're going to get them all starting blocking us.
We can give 3 underrated players.
Yeah, 3 underrated. Go ahead.
I'll go Bryce Huff as 1.
Okay.
I'll go. Damn. Now I'm stumped. I'm gonna go Nashville Dean as 2. I like him a lot.
You haven't seen him play yet.
I saw him in training camp last year. I trust my eyes.
I'm gonna say underrated Berrios. I'm gonna say. Shit, that's a good question, man.
Tough.
Wow. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I knew this was gonna come out. I knew that was coming out. I knew like the ones that I knew it was gonna be like the ones I gonna say overrated are gonna be like Quinnen, Beckton. I think Conklin. I agree with this one. I think Conklin's underrated. I think Conklin's gonna have a monster year. I like the way he plays so much.
Oh, there you go.
Fant underrated.
I was gonna say, yeah, Fant's a good one. Underrated. I don't think he got enough love for what he did last year. Filling in at left tackle.
Bryce Hall overrated? I mean, there are people that think he's a legitimate starting corner. Like there's a lot of us thought we didn't even need DJ Reed, that we'd be happy with or you didn't have to go out and get Sauce Gardner like you have guys.
We had a lot of comments in the chat last year that thought he was a true number one. So we just got two guys that are going to be in front of him now, but still think he's got some ability.
Michael Carter second in the slot is underrated. We'll see. Could be.
Who's solid, rookie.
Overrated Ashton Davis. I don't think at this point anybody's overrating Ashton Davis. I think it's a make or break year from at this point.
Everybody's sleeping on Ashton Davis. Come back next season.
Nobody's calling a top five tackle. Nobody's saying that. Not in this show, at least.
I mean, last year he played at the level of close to a top five. I mean, he gave up what, like 2 sacks and 15 starts there or something like that. I mean,
yep.
He played at a high level last year.
Not sure if underrated, but really excited for Jonathan Marshall. Curious to see if he plays, man. I mean, there's some legitimate talent defensive line. Whitehead overrated? Come on, man. Why? Why is he overrated? I love that signing. I absolutely love that signing. We got another Berrios mention. Berrios is a bit overrated, but given he's given a great teammate, keep him. So wait a minute. You're saying Berrios is overrated and Corey Davis is underrated? I mean, based on what they did last year, Berrios played much better than Corey Davis did last year.
Yeah, I would flip that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you say Corey Davis is underrated based on what you saw last year? Drop passes, inconsistent, got hurt, and he missed a lot of time. Like, that's...
I mean, if we're basing it like off potential, maybe, but I mean, he's had how many years in the league and hasn't really shown it consistently yet.
So how is Uzuma overrated? He hasn't. I mean, he's not being brought in to be Kelsey. He's brought in to be a good tight end in our offense.
We're going down that route.
You know what? That's funny you say that, Afram. I guess when Notre Dame knocks out Tennessee in the college baseball stuff, right? You know, you must be a Tennessee fan or something.
I think Christy knew exactly what she was doing when she asked this question.
Yep. Sam, you are not underrated by no means. You're being rated properly now as a backup quarterback.
What about Mike White, maybe underrated? Solid
Hall is overrated. Another one, Hall. I like this one too. Jacob Martin. I think he's going to do a lot too, man. With his speed and stuff like that, he could be a nice asset. A lot of Bryce Hall mentions. That's interesting. Wow. So, what about John Frank Lemires? This is one I was kind of like waiting to see what people are going to say. Is it fair because of he was playing out of position last year? He was forced to play that because Carl Lawson got hurt?
I think if we're just looking at the price tag and not even the $55 million, just, you know, the 1 year and whatever it is, $12 million that he's guaranteed this year, you know, and yeah, like you said, the sacks, I mean, he hasn't had one season with more than like 3.5 or 4 sacks. Yep. So I would say just based on the price tag for what he's making this year, yeah, somewhat overrated, but a young player where there's potential there. Hopefully it, you know, turns out to be a good signing, but
we'll know this year. Yeah. You'll know this year for sure with John Franklin Myers. Justin Hardy on special teams, underrated and underappreciated. That's tough to say because the only time I remember him last year was when he was committing penalties.
Yeah, he had 2 big
dumb penalties. Like personal fouls.
You look at his career. I mean, I think he's a fairly solid rated player for what he does special teams, and he gets pretty good recognition for that. So that's what he's here for. I don't think you're going to see him at corner.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought he'd get more chances at corner. But I mean, obviously he's a good special teams player, great energy guy, and all that stuff. But I don't think he's in terms of underrated. And he got paid fairly. He got paid fairly well, didn't he? John Frank Lemire's most misunderstood contract by the fans. Quincy Williams underrated. Let's hope that's right, man. He comes out and plays great this year. Here's a hot take for your prime time. Mims is going to be the Bless Austin of last year. Going to get talked up, then traded or cut. P.S. I don't want this to happen. I'm rooting for Mims. I could see it too.
It's possible.
I could definitely see that.
Just based on the way that last year went, you know, it made you think like with so many guys jumping him and him not really getting an opportunity to prove it on the field. You wonder like what actually went on like behind the scenes. Like, did he really piss off the coaching staff? Was it just you know, a matter of bad fish, or was there more stuff going on there?
Yep. Here's a good one. Will Parks. That's a safety we haven't talked about. He made some plays for the end of the season.
Yeah.
This could very well be true too, because I was talking to a friend of mine's actually a Seahawk fan, and he loves DJ Reed, absolutely loves him. He's like, dude, that kid's he's like heading into the peak of his career. Like, he's a really good player.
Do you think there's any chance at the end of the year we're maybe talking about him like John Franklin Myers? And I'm hoping not, but like a player that's a good player, but maybe not worth, $14 million or whatever he's supposed to make next year.
I hope not. I hope.
I know there's like an out in his contract where he could also, like, the same kind of thing as Franklin Myers, where he can only get 1 year, $14 million.
They said like my buddy's saying this kid's. He said he's really, really good, man. He's like much better than people think he is. Let's see, we got Joe Flacco's underrated.
What?
It's underrated opening at third. He's not the third string quarterback. He's a second string quarterback. I mean, I think he's I don't think he's underrated. He's a legitimate veteran backup. That's kind of what his role is. I don't think it's better than having Mike White as the backup. I can tell you that much.
Is it? I like Mike White.
Yep. So what is this? The beat writer that Grant Cohn, who had beef with Kinlaw, was happy to see the Niners let go of Lake and Tomlinson, and so the Jets overpaid. Time will tell, man. I know when that move happened, a lot of 49ers fans are pissed and they like them. So it's like I don't know.
Well, he also had the best year of his career in a contract year, right? So.
Yeah, which is
something to watch.
Smart. So is Aaron Judge right now. Just thinking about $40 million contract at this point.
Good luck with that.
Let's see, we got do a couple more here. Flacco isn't unrated. He's a decent quarterback with a great defense. He is now way past his prime. I think he's a serviceable backup. That's exactly what he is. He's not getting paid a lot. Just let him sit and help Zach. If he has to play, great.
Perfect for the role that he's in now as a veteran mentor.
I think I really like Josh Johnson as a backup versus Mike White. Mike White had one good game, then played poorly. Well, actually, he was. Actually, no. I mean, he's all right. I mean, he played well before he got hurt too.
He had a game and a half that was pretty solid, and then the bad game was at Buffalo. So you give him somewhat of a pass there.
Yeah. Are the Jets keeping 3 quarterbacks on the active roster? I don't think so. I don't on the active roster, on the game day roster.
Well, they'll have one that's inactive, but on the 53, I think they're going to have 3 quarterbacks.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If you got Flacco and Zach Wilson, do you really need Mike White?
So you're not going to have. I mean, one injury, then what? One injury, you have one quarterback. You trust Mike White getting to the practice squad?
Dude, I don't.
They're going to have 3 quarterbacks.
I don't think so, man. I think White could be practice squad.
They're going to have 3.
Do you think we'll have a better record than the Patriots?
Let's say
Good
yes.
question. I think so too. Yes. But I guess the question for you, Nick, is what do you think the Patriots record is going to be? That's kind of the question. Are the Patriots going to be in that 7-8 win range or less than that? Mike White won't make the practice squad. He'll get scooped up. Sign Darnold to the practice squad. Oh my god! I think Mike White gets traded.
You wonder if there's a market if they would consider trading Mike White if they can get like a 4th or 5th round pick.
Could. Why not? Screw it. There's another one. Another Revis comment. How would y'all feel about Revis coming to coach the defensive backs? Well, I think he said he's going to help him out. He's going to give some insight, help. He'll probably, he'll help where he can, but he's not going to become a coach on the staff, though.
I'd like to see Revis get into coaching. He was one of those guys that, whenever you watched him in practice, I mean, he was just at a completely different level. Just the technician and the way he approached practice was just insane.
Players just gravitate to him, too, man. They know he's like a legend. They just instantly, he speaks, everybody listens.
Yep.
Let's see. CJ Mosley contract restructured later on. Okay. So we got predict our practice squad. Are you out of your mind? This is way too early for that. Let's get in the training camp first, see what we got. We ain't that bored yet.
All right, hold on. Let's see if I can pull up the roster.
We ain't predicting no practice guy. What are you out of your mind, dude?
Well, you got Calvin Jackson, the receiver. I mean,
we haven't seen him play yet, though.
Nah, I know he's gonna make it. Well, Michael P. Ryan.
Who was worse, Kotite or Gase? Gase was worse because Gase ruined a young quarterback. and set us back about 4 years.
Yeah, I'll go Gase. And his press conferences too made it. I mean, I was 7 years old when Kotite was talking, so I don't
remember
how
Kotite's
bad
press
those
conferences.
but
They were terrible,
I can't
too.
imagine they were much worse than Gase.
He would say the same thing every week. It's like, we played hard for 60 minutes, left nothing on the field. I was like, oh, every friggin' week. We'll watch the film, we'll bounce back in practice, and blah, 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 blah. Gase was worse, man. Definitely
That
worse.
reminds me of almost every Mets manager over the last 2 decades.
Oh, terrible.
We competed, we battled.
I know. She is putting us to work.
Jerry
It's
Manuel's
nonsense.
quote.
She's giving us all these underrated, overrated questions. My God, it's killing us over here.
I'm saying.
So, prime time, what
Yes,
are we going to do
it's
the next couple of weeks? Do we want to take off from streaming? Because there's not really a lot to talk about.
Well, I'm going to be doing video. Summer break started today for me, so I will finally be back on videos. Not all right. All right.
A 2-month break.
I'll be back
Fuck.
on videos. I'll be back on videos. Just wait.
But are we streaming the next couple of weeks? Or we take off till like July?
I was
Not
just
a lot
saying,
to talk
if any news breaks, we could just do a random stream, like if something happens. Otherwise, if you don't want to, we could do a Titanic stream.
We gotta do like bad memorabilia, or we'll do like the bad memorabilia one. We gotta do the We'll do like, we won't talk like Jets. We'll just do like all the ones we gotta catch up on.
Yeah,
Like
do that.
bad memorabilia, good memorabilia. We'll start doing those then.
Yeah, keep them like a half hour, 45 minutes.
All right. So what do you want to do next Tuesday? Bad memorabilia.
Works for me.
I got a closet full of it over here.
I gotta do some cleaning, find all my shit.
The fan interviews I'm gonna be doing throughout the week. They're not gonna be on Tuesday. So next Tuesday, if you have bad memorabilia, get it out and we'll bring you on as a caller and you can show it to us. Whatever it is, it could be just like it's like I have jerseys signed by like Justin McCarron's. I got like some shit you're gonna be like, what is that garbage? So we'll do bad memorabilia next Tuesday. So if you callers come on, you show it, we'll show ours. We gotta watch with the where the hell is this? Watching the old games. We gotta watch, man, because we got like strikes on our channel because of that shit.
Really?
The NFL came after us. Yep.
Really?
And the NFL flagged us, and it wasn't even the right flag. They said, like, whatever one game was, they said we used Denver Bronco material. There was no Denver Bronco shit in there.
What?
Yeah. We got to watch with those. We got caught twice on that.
Was it just
Ridiculous.
a flag or an actual strike?
I think it was a strike.
Oh,
So it was our
really?
second. We got like 2 offenses. I was just like, what?
What?
So do we want to stream the Generals on Saturday at 3 o'clock? It's supposed to be like sunny and I don't know. It's a beach day, man.
I don't know about that one.
Well, I'm guessing we're probably not going to. It's going to be a sunny Saturday at the shore. So,
I'll see what I'm doing.
but next Tuesday, we were doing Bad Memorabilia Show. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you then.
Later.
Go Yankees. Hit the wrong button, I think. Shit. End.